Well, that was better timing than I thought I was going to have. Still trying to type shit up. But what's up, everybody? Welcome to Nightmares and Nerdscapes. I'm CJ. Special guest this evening, coming straight off of a world tour of podcasting this evening. Just got done wrapping up an episode of No Gimmicks over on the No Gimmicks podcasting channel, covering MPX and WWE and some of the fallout, we'll call it, of WrestleMania 41. We got my man Blak joining us for this conversation about sinners. So just like the movie, we have a white guy bringing on a black guy to talk about a Ryan Coogler movie and trying to steal the culture. So we'll see how this goes. But until then, welcome to Nightmares and Nerdscapes. Grab you a seat, get you a drink. Let's do it. Cheers.
We are the DFPN. Always question the answers.
There we go. I gotta figure this shit out. All right. So I have been wanting to talk about this movie ever since I saw it. And I saw it the night before it went wide. So definitely appreciate you coming on board to chat with me about it. I got a lot of thoughts.
Me too.
Some are gonna be popular. Some of them are gonna get me looked at sideways. But fuck it, that's what we're here for. So overall thoughts to start. That's normally how I start my reviews, just overall thoughts on the movie. So what do you think? How did you feel both in the theater and then leaving the theater immediately afterwards?
In the theater, I thought this is one of the best written movies I've ever seen. On top of it being one of the best horror movies that I've ever seen. Yeah. That is how I felt in the theater. Leaving the theater, I felt something different. It was a bunch of history. Like my grandma would tell me stories. Like it was a bunch of history that just started flooding back into my mind watching this movie. And like, damn, it was a lot of damn. This is that. This is this. And it's like, oh my God. So it made me want to watch it again because I was unsure, like how much did I actually catch and what did I miss? Like I wanted to watch the movie again simply to see what I missed because I left and so much came to my brain. I was like, oh my goodness, this is really one of the best horror movies I've ever seen, but it's one of the best movies, period, I've ever seen. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Yep, I'm the same way. This is the first movie I've been to in a long time. I think probably since, and I said this in one of our chats a couple days ago, this is probably the first movie since American History X that I remember walking out of the theater from, and people were standing in the lobby, not waiting to go in to see the movie, but talking about the movie just left with people they had never met before.
Yeah.
Right? And I was talking to somebody on Blue Sky earlier, and it's just like in the theater itself, like people talk about the Minecraft effect right now, right? People throwing popcorn and shit, right? Sinners had a very similar impact from an interaction standpoint, but it was so much deeper. Like, no, we didn't speak during the movie.
Yeah.
It was dead silent. All you could feel, because I went to see it in IMAX, right? So all you could hear was the movie, but all you could feel was the floor vibrating.
Yeah.
From foot stomp, along with the music and everything else. It was so intense and so much fun. But yeah, this is easily my favorite no hyperbole whatsoever. I've seen about every vampire movie that's ever been made.
Oh yeah.
And this is by far my favorite because it was a vampire movie, but it wasn't about the vampires,
Right.
which we'll get into a little bit.
Right.
And this is easily one of my top 5 movies ever.
Yeah, that's
Easily
what I
top
said. Yeah, that's what I said. It's
And
one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, it may be top 3. Could it get I don't know yet. I don't want recency bias to screw up my ratings, but it's pushing for that number 1 spot.
I'm pretty sure this movie will stand the test of time.
Yes. Yes, especially with everything else that's going on in the world right now. It came out at the right time
Yep.
for the right community with the right director and the right cast. I mean, holy shit,
Yep.
the cast in this movie, right? So let's just go down the list.
Go ahead.
Miles Catton playing Sammy Moore,
first movie,
Preacher Boy,
by the
first
way.
movie.
Yeah.
Had not picked up a guitar until about 3 months prior,
Yep.
but played and sang for this movie.
Phenomenal voice.
Yep, outstanding. That shot in the middle, one shot, no cuts.
Yep.
Filmed over 1 day.
Yep.
And he pulled it off. Jack O'Connell is Remick, one of the best villains I've ever seen.
Great antagonist in this movie.
And a surprisingly good singer. I was shocked. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tanaj L. Jackson is Beatrice. Probably she might be my favorite character in this movie.
I have one. I don't know. I think
Okay.
Miles might be my favorite.
I like Miles, but for me, it felt like the narrative pivoted around Miles.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But I don't feel like, other than declining something 3 times in the movie, which we'll get into down the road a little bit. Your conversations earlier kind of got me thinking about some stuff. He didn't really do anything that drove the narrative. That's the only problem I have with him, right? Like, he was the focal point of the efforts because he's the one that had we'll call it the voice, we'll call it.
Right.
But he didn't drive the narrative so much. And that's the only reason why, for me, Beatrice would be higher.
Okay. I get that.
And I grew up in the South, and for me, I love seeing characters that rely not on religion, but on history and spirituality to define what they do.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And Beatrice nails that. Nails it.
That's a very good point.
With the way she was written. Now, I think the most talented actor on this cast, second most talented actor on the cast, was Michael B. Jordan.
For him to pull off both Smoke and Stack, impressive. That was highly impressive.
It was, and completely different characters.
Completely different characters.
If they weren't both on the screen at the same time,
you believe they were 2 different people.
And you still knew which one was which is so hard to pull off.
That was crazy.
So hard to pull up. Now, wardrobe helps.
Yes.
That helped a lot.
But
you had the Irish brother and you had the Italian brother.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
From their past in Chicago. But, man, and he was very good. But for me, Delroy Lindo, man.
As Delta Slim.
How in the hell has this man not gotten an
He
Academy
needs one. He needs one.
He was so good.
Yes, he
good.
was.
And he was able to balance the seriousness of the film, right? With the scene in the car driving through the cotton fields.
My favorite scene. That is my favorite scene from the movie.
Most of it was improv. Did you know that?
Yes. I found that out afterwards, which it made me love it more.
It's just him driving down the road, telling that story about the lynching, and they don't show anything.
They walk you through
You
it
hear
and
it.
make you feel it. Yes.
And you can hear it
You can
while
hear
he's
it.
telling the story. And what's crazy to me is like a lot of and tell me to shut up if I keep going on for too long.
This is great.
One of the things that I love, right, is when you talk about memory. There's two senses that trigger memory faster than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Smell's number one.
Yep.
Sound is number two.
Yep.
And they say that the sounds that you hear, right, the music that you hear, and the environments that you're in between the ages of 10 and 13 are essentially what define you as a
I
human
agree
being,
with that.
right? Like your
Yep, I
favorite
agree.
music right now, the most nostalgic music to you is like probably halfway through 7th grade through 8th grade.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just hits different. You might
Yes.
not even like the song, but when it comes on, you're like, oh shit.
I remember where I was and what I was doing when certain
That's it.
music comes on.
Yep,
Yeah.
same thing. And I got a lot of good things to say about Delroy Lindo and Delta Slim, but as I drink my corn liquor, it's bourbon, but 51% corn, it counts. But just so as far as the cast goes, I mean, obviously we know Miles Cadden killed it in this role.
Mhm.
I don't expect, I hope, but I don't expect we're gonna see him get a supporting actor nod for this. I just don't think it's gonna happen.
I think Wami Masako might.
Why am I
His
forgetting
wife.
that name?
His wife.
Jordan's?
Yeah.
That's who I was talking about. It wasn't Jackson. It wasn't Beatrice. It was
Her name is Annie.
Annie.
I knew you were talking about. Yeah.
Yep. She absolutely should get one.
Yes.
All other shit aside, as far as the story goes, her scene with Michael B. Jordan in the hut or in the house
Yeah.
was crazy erotic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hugely sexual. Hot as
Very
hell.
much.
Not a single drop of nudity in it. None.
Nope.
Wasn't needed. When it's hot, it's
all.
hot. You can leave everything in the clothes.
You know what that touch meant.
Your body had forgotten me. Oh shit.
You know what that meant.
And that was so I went to see this movie with my 19-year-old daughter.
Oh, buddy.
Because the marketing was just it's a vampire movie.
Right.
With the blues, right? And I was like, this will be great for my daughter. She's a huge fan of horror movies. And she loves music. So I was like, shit, let's do it. And then it got to that line, your body hadn't forgotten me. And I was just, oh shit. What have I done? What have I done?
I heard my wife and my daughter talking about it. I was like, oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
my daughter just, I was blushing and my daughter just giggling over there. I know, don't do that. No. You're supposed to ask me, what does he talk? What does that mean?
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do. Don't act like you know what the hell this is.
No, I get it, man. Yeah, that scene was crazy. That one and Stack and what's her face in the juke joint. I was like, oh Lord.
Oh, Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby, you're drooling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Like, yo, you are wilding out now, bro.
She was good in this movie. Haley.
She was
amazing. And it's crazy to me that the first time I saw her, I think she was like 12 in True Grit.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me look that up. Because she might have been a little older than that. But like we've watched her grow up in movies.
Literally in front of the camera.
Yeah. From True Grit to Pitch Perfect. Those films. Moving into Bumblebee. She's done a Transformers movie. And then
Hawkeye show.
Yep. Yep, completely different turn for her.
Yeah, very much.
But I gotta admit, I struggled at first to accept her as this older, sensual woman with my head still on. Weren't you in True Grit, like in middle school?
Yes.
But all right, so let's go through it. So you've got some very interesting ideas
Mm-hmm.
with regards to the interpretation of the film. So let's start with that. Why don't you break that down a little bit, and we'll discuss it a little bit, and then I'll come around with my thoughts, because there's a lot of them. But
Yeah. So I want to start with what I interpreted this movie as. And
Mhm.
one of the biggest ideas that I took away from it, the movie is called Sinners, right? So naturally you think of sin, people doing a whole bunch of bad things, but the idea around the movie is that all seven deadly sins are on display in this movie.
This is
And
what you told me the other day, and kind of knocked me on my ass, because I hadn't even looked at it this way.
yeah. So it's being that you have all seven deadly sins on display. Like the one person I'll start with is Preacher Boy, is
Mm,
because we first see him and we see the result of the night before,
mhm.
right? And the first thing he does is he goes back to the church.
Yep.
And he's like, he goes and he hugs his dad, and you see the guitar's broken. You don't really know why, but you see these scenes flashing in his head. So the beginning of the movie representing the aftermath was really big, in the sense of you knew what was about to happen, right?
Yep.
Something was going to go horribly awry. But him representing the first deadly sin is because he rides along with his cousins. He wants their life. He's seen them come back, and he's proud to tell people, like, yeah, they're my cousins.
Mhm.
And this is what I want from my life. I want to get out of here. I want to get out of this town. I want to experience what they experience. That in itself was a form of envy.
Yep.
But all these sins were like really, really subtle. And if you really weren't paying attention, you really didn't pick up on it.
Mhm.
So something like the Asians. So when we get introduced to them, right? Smoke is he's in town and he goes and visits them. And we see that he has a shop on one side and his wife is running the shop on the other one.
Yep.
But that in itself is a form of greed, because they've taken advantage of the whole town. So they
Yep.
have a shop on each side of the street. They're friendly with everybody, and they're collecting money from everybody because they're friendly. And
Yep.
that
And
that is
historically
greed,
accurate.
right? Subtle, sneaky greed, right?
Yep.
No one really bats an eye, because they're the Asians. They're not bothering anybody. They're
That's it.
friendly with everybody. So they're able to use that to their advantage, which was
Yep.
crazy.
They're not the
Very crazy.
slave or the owner.
Yeah, yeah. Right?
We'll get into the whole slavery to
There's
sharecropping transition.
so many undertones, bro.
Yeah.
So many undertones. But you got cornbread representing sloth, and this one was the most interesting one to me. And it's because when we meet him, he's in the fields, he's
Mhm.
working, him and his wife, and Stack comes and gets him, and he's like, "Come on, you can make more money." But he lures him in with the promise of, like, you come do this, you're doing this, you have this responsibility. I'm going to give you one that gives you more money.
For doing
And he
less.
takes it, but he bribes him using his wife,
Yep.
which it
Hilarious.
allows him to leave that responsibility, go to the club when he had already said no. He was like,
Mhm.
I'm not doing it. I have things to do. I got a family to take care of, right? But Stack lures him away from that, and he does it. And the second time he does it, not once but twice in this movie. The second time he does it, he's supposed to be watching the door.
Yep.
Gets up, leaves the door, leaves it to Delta Slim. And if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't even go there, then he's whole, right?
Right.
But him going there just tragically changed his wife. Now we don't know what his wife would be able to do with the money because we know he ain't
So
coming back.
so looking back at it now, the sexual act that they use to convince him to go, he doesn't have to be active for it.
Yeah, exactly.
He can just fucking sit there. I hadn't even thought about that until just now.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. All right.
Exactly. Then speaking of the sexual act, Mary just represents less because
Yeah.
that's what brought her to Stack. Once she sees him, like it activates.
Yep.
Like immediately. Once she sees him, she knows, and he's like, I told you to get the fuck away from me. He's like,
Yep.
I told you, stay away from me. Knowing he loves her, but even in him, that's his pride. That's another evil sin, a deadly sin, the pride, because he knows he shouldn't be messing with her.
Yep.
But her lust for him and the fact that he knows he can get away with it, crazy storytelling. And then, of course, with Smoke, you had the wrath, and his was subtle in the beginning, but by the end, it had boiled over. You've seen the result of it.
So you
Knowing
see when he
you
shoots
see
that
it.
guy in the ass.
Right, the thieves. Yep.
Yep.
When he's like, nah, I can't have y'all out here thinking that y'all can just steal from me.
Yep.
Like, nah, that's not cool. Like when he could have let him go, right? He's like,
Oh yeah,
but
they were terrified as soon as they saw him.
once they figured out who it was, they were like, oh, we're totally fucked.
Mhm.
But,
We picked the wrong damn truck.
yeah, but even then, he's like, nah, I can't have y'all letting the town thinking this is cool.
Mhm.
But even on the end of that, learning that there was going to be KKK coming at the end of the night or the next day, like once they sold the building, and then knowing everything that happened prior to that, like he just unleashes everything on them.
Yeah.
And that is the full wrath. And then the last one was Delta Slim, because as much as he carried it and as much pain as he had went through, like his drinking was really a foundation of the problem.
Oh, he buried it.
Yeah, he buried himself in the drinking. He was a slave to it. And
I know the type.
Yep. That was gluttony on full display because because he's playing these clubs and juke joints just to drink. And that ultimately got him there. So the fact that you had all of this stuff on display in this movie was absolutely insane. On top of it being a vampire movie, right? So
Hey, what's up, Mac?
What's up, Mac? So on top of it being a vampire movie, you have the 7 deadly sins in play as a subtone to everything else that's really going on, because of course you got culture, you got music, you got family stuff going on, and the dynamic of all that, which being wrapped up in the 7 deadly sins, is masterful storytelling, man. It's
outstanding.
Yeah,
it's outstanding, and that's just one layer of it, right? So you take so you take the 7 deadly sins, right? Let's call that the foundation,
right?
If you go one layer up from there, the source of the 7 deadly sins is Christianity and the Bible,
right?
Yep. And if you look at colonialism and what the British Empire did and the Holy Roman Empire before them did, right, with regards to going in, taking over land, and converting their people, they did it to the Irish. Remick was Irish.
Yep.
And when they were brought over to the U.S., they were brought in as indentured servants, right? Not slaves, not the same kind of deal, but similar from an oppression standpoint, which I think is what makes Remick such a compelling villain for Jim Crow sharecroppers, because it is that you do have that. It's not an equality, but it's a similarity in pain, right? The difference is that the Irish were able to hide themselves within the British culture, within white culture, right? Far easier than African Americans were. Right. I think that's the major divide between the two as you walk up through history. So while the Irish were able to get a leg up just because they looked like them, African Americans weren't able to do that. Right? They had to, dealing with slavery, and then Jim Crow, and then you had the Civil Rights Act of 1963. But even after that, you still run into the same kind of maybe not to the same blatant level nationwide, but you still run into similar systemic issues, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And so for them, it was like, so my grandfather always had the saying, like, at least you're not Arkansas, right?
yeah,
And right. So
Arkansas, Mississippi. Mm-mm.
exactly. So it's like, at least you're not Arkansas. And for that classism, right? The Irish were a step up from the blacks. Well,
They
the
were.
blacks were Arkansas because
Yep.
they were looked at as the lowest of the low. And that's where the Irish were in that whole scheme of things. So
Yep.
they were both poor,
Oh yeah.
right? And that in itself is the undertone for Remick. Because if you notice, Remick, once he figured out like he wanted Miles, like that's the tactic he used. He was like, you could be free. You could be free like me. We
Yep.
could fellowship, right?
Yep.
And it's that we're basically the same. We're both poor,
Yep.
right? They don't
Yep.
care about us, which is why when he was like, "Are you a member of the clan?" He was like, "No, don't don't. No, I'm not
Yeah.
at all."
Like, no,
Right?
we what is it? We deal in fellowship here, I think is what he
Yes,
says.
yes,
Which again goes back to that Christianity thing for me, right? And I want to be careful of how I word this, because I don't want to offend. But really, talking about topics like this, somebody's going to get pissed off at some point because there's just
say what you got to
yeah,
say.
fuck it. I'm talking to Kelvin. We're just going to have a conversation, right? Um, when you dig into the fellowship aspect of it, right? When you look at the fact that Sammy 3 times in the film turns his back on a form of higher power, right?
Mm-hmm.
He does it when they play the music.
Yep.
He does it during the attempted baptism that's framed as a drowning. And he
Yep.
does it again with his father. He has to turn his back on Christianity and Christ, right? 3 times in order to find his freedom to be able to follow the blues.
Yep.
That's holy. Who comes up with that? Like, who in the hell is Coogler to sit down and go, all right, here's what I want to do, and create the spider web of
And
different layers and interpretation.
it
And it's just,
weaves in and out. Like even the fact with Annie, like because Annie's form of quote unquote religion
mm,
was the fact that she was so earthly. You know what I mean? Like
yep,
she was into apothecary, which that in itself is crazy. She was like into apothecaries, what people would call roots, like what people would call voodoo. And like she used that to protect people, but that was her form of religion. And
it was.
people,
Yep.
the fact that this wasn't shunned, like Smoke used it, like he didn't really see it as something that was really helpful until he realized that it helped him. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
know. I think so. I look at that in a similar way to like if you look at the way the brothers interacted with everybody in that film.
Mm-hmm.
Um, says double click to update. I'm double clicking. All right, let me turn it off. If you look at the way the brothers interact with everybody in that film, they automatically put up walls to everybody
Mm-hmm.
except for 2 people, Mary and
Yep.
Anna.
Yep.
Annie. Those are the 2 people that call them by their real names. And you
Yep.
only hear those names once per character in that film.
Yep.
Elijah and Elias, and they come from their women,
Yep.
right? I think when he's looking at her with the mojo bag, pouring libations for her ancestors, right, at the ritual table and reinvigorating the power in the bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's him because that scene hasn't happened yet with the body. Your body hasn't, or your body remembers me, or your body
Right.
hasn't forgotten
Right.
me, right? I think he's still got that wall up. So when it shows his expression while she's doing that, and he's just kind of blowing it off or acting like it's bullshit, I think he actually believed in it. I think it had power because
Right.
Remick
Right.
Remick wasn't able to get to him until after he took it off.
Right. So, and I'm gonna go to another movie real quick
Yeah.
because it's absolutely relevant. So, in that form of religion, like I'm gonna go to the Skeleton Key. So
All right.
it
All right.
doesn't work unless you believe in it.
Yep.
So him the fact that he actually believed in it, it worked for him, which he was kind of reluctant to take it off, right? But too much bad stuff had already happened. I think he
even
had
to
to
give it to
accept
her.
right, right.
But like it's crazy to me because this is probably the most accurate portrayal I've seen. And again, I'm looking at all of this from outside the culture, right?
Hmm.
Southern white kid saw a lot, wasn't invited to the barbecue, and for good reason. For good reason, right?
Right.
Um, but for me, I love the fact that this film is the first one that I've seen take African spirituality in a
Hmm.
horror movie and not have it trigger the evil.
It wasn't demonized.
The vampires had nothing to do with the hoodoo.
Right,
Nothing.
right,
And it was hoodoo, not voodoo, like I see a lot of people saying. This was hoodoo.
right.
They had a hoodoo consultant hired on set.
Yep,
This had nothing to do with religion or Christianity, but everything to do with respect of ancestry and nature.
yep.
And that was it was and this ties into the blues, right? Like we're gonna talk in spider webs and
Oh
tangents because
man,
there's no other way to do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But but I love the fact that like when you hear music, when you hear the blues, your first reaction is to tap your toe. It's to stomp your
Hmm.
foot, right? Which connects you to the ground,
Yep.
right? Everything that was depicted in this movie from a spiritual standpoint that was tied to the black characters in the movie was about ancestry and their connection to their past.
Right. Because
Everything that had to do with the white characters, the Irish characters, the vampires, the KKK, even his father in the church was connected outside of the earth.
right, right,
Everything.
right. And when you go to the juke joints and especially how once they start talking about piercing the veil,
Mm,
like a large portion of that, even in the movie theater, was vibrational, which
yes.
culturally is huge because in those cultures they believe like vibrate the body operates on certain vibrations,
Mhm.
right? And certain vibrations can heal. And that's why those scenes were so powerful for me because it tapped into that. Like the way the vibrations are, the frequencies, what they actually sang, and then the key that they sang it, right? So a lot of this stuff hit really, really hard because that's how deep they were going.
Yeah. And I love the fact that this film, just as an overall creation, right? We're having conversations about this movie that I've never seen had around
Yeah,
of
yeah,
any fucking movie
yeah.
ever. Like,
It-
honestly, looking back at horror specifically, who would have thought that we would be sitting here talking about black spirituality and joy and sexuality against Christianity as an institution, as
right.
opposed to for it? That's a big that's a bold step for Coogler to take, especially considering
It's
the
really bold.
number of black Southern Baptists that you've got.
Yeah,
Like it,
it's a
it's
really
ballsy, man.
bold. Yeah, it's a really bold move, and the way he ties this bow off is crazy. It's really crazy.
You talking about with the KKK at the end?
Yeah. Oh
Or you
yeah.
talking about with Remick at the end?
Not really that. So in the post credit scene when it ultimately leads you back to the church because
Yeah.
he's singing "This Little Light of Mine,"
Yep.
which is a Southern Baptist song. Like
It is.
it's crazy how he ties that bow off in the middle of all this stuff going on. So once you get back to that, it's like ultimately it goes back to the church.
It does.
It
It does.
starts in the
But I
church
think
and ultimately it ends in the church.
but it's how you approach the religion that's
Right.
important,
Right.
right? Like I think Sammy found his religion through turning his back on it and through the blues. He was able to connect himself to God,
Right.
but
Right.
it was through nature and through culture, right? As opposed to the other way around, right? Like Remick was attempting to use an outside source, right? Sammy, to find his connection to his roots instead
Right.
of using his roots to find that connection to himself, which
Right.
Mac is probably sitting there going, "Who the fuck? Like, this is not the love lady that I knew in Baghdad in 2003." But um, it's such a crazy fucking movie, and it's just
It
so
is, dude.
so focusing just on the music in this film, like
Mhm.
this is not a musical, and I've seen a lot of
No,
people out there
no.
saying, "Oh, it's the first black horror music." This is not a musical. Um, I understand why some people would say that, even though they're wrong. But music as a tool to drive this narrative and to get the point across, I've never seen a film do it this way. That wasn't a musical.
Right. But
It's
so
so entrenched.
I was like, the first thing I thought of when this movie came, like when I saw it, the first thing I thought of is an actual real story.
Mm,
So there is an actual story about a guy who supposedly sold his soul to the devil,
yep,
and
the
he was
devil at the
from the
crossroads.
Delta. He was from the Delta, Mississippi area, and his name was Robert Johnson, which he influenced so many guitarists and so many groups based off his style of play. Like a lot of musical acts have been influenced by Robert Johnson, but it's absolutely a real story that goes around about him. He died
Yep.
young. Um, Supposedly there was a deal he made with the devil because they were saying like he was playing juke joints, he was good, but he wasn't rememberable, right?
Yep.
And then he leaves for 6 months, and then he comes back and he's like the best player that they've ever seen.
Yep.
And they're like, how did he get that good that
Had
fast?
to have made a deal with the devil.
He had to have made a deal with the devil. But
Yep.
prior to that, like he lost his wife, he lost his child, and shit was rough for him,
Yeah.
right? So for him to be gone and live and come back and he's that good, that story followed him up until his death. He died of a poison act, but that story reminded me so much of what Sammy went through in Sinners
Yep.
because he
Yep.
lost a lot. And I thought Remick played the part of the devil.
Which
So,
threw me on my ass when you said it, 'cause I hadn't even considered that.
right. So, mechanically, so like the devil was an actual musician.
Yep.
He enjoyed music,
Mhm.
which Remick keying in on that was like, oh, there it is. He's found a gifted, talented person. He wants that talent because you see him.
Well, so strip it back a level, right? It's not
Yeah,
that Remick just found a musician.
he
Remick was a
heard it.
musician. He was a musician coming in,
Yes,
and
exactly.
everybody that he circled himself with, because Stack wasn't no damn musician,
Nope.
but
But
as soon
that's
as he turned, his ass was singing Rocky Road to
exactly
Dublin around that bonfire. So,
the KKK family. We don't
yep,
know if they were musicians or not, but
I would guess not.
they were singing Irish folk songs, right? With
Yeah,
Remick. So that alone, I was like, dude, I think he's playing the part of the devil. So that in itself, and by the way, his dad told Sammy, he was like, you keep playing that devil's music, and sooner or later,
he's
you
gonna
the
get you. Yep,
yep. So and just the part of that, because they did think of blues as the devil's music back then,
he did.
right? And just the fact that he wanted to follow his heart, the devil did pay him a visit. So, and it was the way they used the music and the way they used the music culturally too. It's like you're playing so good that you could pierce the veil between life or death.
Yep.
And you're in your own zone. When he's playing and he's doing these songs in the juke joint, it's like he's lost in himself. He doesn't realize that the landscape has changed around him. That he's
Nobody
actually
does.
nobody does, right? But he's done
Everyone
it.
is lost in it.
Right. So the part of the music and the way that they played, man, that was phenomenal.
I
Phenomenal.
so I haven't sat up in my chair during a movie at the theater because I'm lazy as shit. I think everybody knows that. Like if I got reclining options in the, I'm kicked back. I'm reclining right now. You just can't tell because I'm good with the camera. You think I'm kidding? I'm serious.
I believe you.
I pushed the button and whirred that electric damn thing down for 10 seconds and leaned forward in my seat for that scene. I've never seen anything like it.
Me neither.
I've seen the world tear. I've seen shifts. I've seen the particle effects and everything that they did visually. I've seen that before, but I've never seen that done with that level of attention to one shot. I've never seen that done in one shot ever.
Yep.
Two, I've never seen it done with that level of choreography. And three, I've never seen it done to the point that it has an impact, a noticeable impact. There were people crying in my theater.
Wow.
It's just Coogler's a fucking master. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. I was blown away just looking at that scene and looking at, for me, it hit really hard because you had the evolution of black music. So he's playing the blues, but you see over time the past and how they did it in the past to the present. He's playing the blues to the future, the DJs, and you have the rappers. Like the way that he did that, absolutely phenomenal, bro. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and it's crazy for me because it's not just like a lot of people, and it bothers the shit out of me, right? Everybody thinks that there's such a thing as white music. And there is. It's limericks out of Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we have.
Wow.
And concertos on the piano.
Wow.
Right? Eastern European pianists, right? And Northwestern European limericks out of Ireland. That's really all we have.
Right.
Everything is a conglomeration of that, right? It wasn't until white culture got introduced to the blues that we got rock and roll.
Rock and roll, yeah.
That we got country and western. Country and western is the blues in 4/4.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
That's it. It's the blues in a 4/4 in a 4/4 time signature.
Yep.
That's just what country is. And your E strings tuned up just a bit, right?
Yeah. Modern American music is it all derived from the blues.
It all comes from the blues. I mean, for fuck's sakes. So the blues lead to R&B, R&B leads to rock and roll leads to funk.
Yep.
Right? Funk leads to disco. Disco leads into the 90s where it starts to blur a little bit. Dave Grohl sampled the fucking Commodores on Nirvana's biggest album of all time. For Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's where he got that drum riff from.
Yep.
Like
a lot of stuff comes from the funky drummer.
Yeah.
Which, yeah.
I mean, holy shit. Like, you'll see me say some random shit online, like, what, who is your favorite male vocalist and why is it Sam Cooke?
Absolutely.
That's my fucking jam. I grew up in the South hearing that shit, driving down to get barbecue on a fucking Saturday, man. I was born by the river.
People don't realize how good Sam Cooke was.
Oh my God. You know why? For the same fucking reason, for the same reason that Remick was going after the juke joint in this movie. His ass got co-opted by the white music industry in the fucking 60s, and they put out bebop records with Sam Cooke on them. It wasn't until he started doing gospel music in the 80s that people started fucking paying attention to how talented that man was.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm going off on tangents. I love horror movies.
Sam Cooke was
I'm a
ahead
music
of his
guy
time.
first, but
Sam Cooke was way ahead of his time.
Oh, hugely.
Yeah. So musically, and the importance of music in this movie, it can't be overstated. Can't be overstated.
No, not at all.
Even the presence of Buddy Guy at the end. A lot of people don't know who Buddy Guy is, but
no clue. I was so upset. Walking out of the theater, be like, "Who's that old guy at the end?" I'm like, "Who the fuck are you, and why are you watching this movie?" Like, I pulled it up on iTunes. I was like, "Here is who Buddy Guy is, dumbass."
Yeah, man. Like seeing Buddy Guy, because Buddy Guy is from that era.
He is
And
100%.
we don't have a lot of him. We don't have a lot of those people left.
No, we don't. It's up to everybody else to carry it.
Right.
But it's hard, right? Until Coogler, it was hard to sell the blues.
Right.
Because what we
But
have now is rhythm and blues, which has been taken over by country western artists that want to rock
mhm.
it up a little bit. And it's not the same.
It's
It's
not. You
not the
still
same.
have people. You still have people like Kingfish that's out there doing traditional blues. They're
Yeah.
just they're so hard to come by.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's hard nowadays too, right? Like
Yeah.
I know there's still problems, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that still have it rough. But when you compare the emotional impact of life day to day on people now compared to people from the 20s, 30s, and 40s,
Hmm.
especially black people, like, and I know it sounds cliched that the blues come from pain, but it's fucking true. You can
It's
hear it.
very true.
You
Very
can
true.
hear pain through a guitar just because the guy's hand trembles a little bit, and it changes everything about the music. Like
Yep.
it's not the same thing.
Yep.
It's not
And
the same thing.
it comes from the soul. But
It does.
that's the best type of music.
Oh
Music
God.
that comes from pain.
And it's the root of everything.
Yep. And
Blues is the root of everything.
which is why during that car scene, like I wondered what they tapped into. Because
Mhm.
when he's telling that
Mhm.
story, and for that shit to be improv is absolutely crazy. They're telling this story and they're making you feel the emotion of what Delta Slim was going through in that moment.
Yep.
But to hum the pain out, because that's the only way he knew how to get it out, was to
And for
hum it
Miles
out.
Catton, to be able to play along with it
Yes.
after only playing
Crazy.
for 3 months. Oh my God.
Crazy.
Oh my God.
And it's just that scene, and to know that scene was almost cut from the movie.
What?
It was almost cut from the movie.
No.
Yeah, because they improv
That-
it.
Second to the big juke joint scene in the middle, the
That's
big
the
music scene.
yeah,
That's the
that's the
second most
best scene in
impactful
the
scene
movie.
in
Yeah,
the fucking movie.
yeah. They almost cut that scene from the movie because
Oh
it was
my
improv.
God. I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, that
I'm glad
scene
they
was
didn't.
incredibly potent, incredibly potent. And I'm like,
Okay.
what? Like knowing that they just improved it. It's like, what the hell did they tap into?
I mean, Delroy Lindo's. Let's talk about Delroy Lindo, right?
Yes.
My first experience with Delroy Lindo was Romeo Must Die. That was my introduction to Delroy Lindo. Was him playing Aaliyah's dad in a Jet Li movie from the late '90s, and he was good in it. But it's a Jet Li movie. Like, how much
Yeah.
can he do, right?
Yeah.
And like, I haven't seen because I didn't know it existed until I jumped into the Sinners conversation. There's a film out there called Five Fires. Hold on, I'm gonna hit up. I'm gonna do something unprofessional and hit up IMDb in the
You
middle
talking
of the
about the
stream.
Five Bloods?
Yes.
Yes. So funny
Apparently,
you
I
mentioned
need
that.
to see that movie.
Yeah, you need to see that. That was one of Chadwick Boseman's last movies. He was
Oh
in
shit.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in that. He was in there with Chadwick Boseman. Oddly enough, I think Chadwick Boseman dies in that movie.
Was that his last film?
No, Ma Rainey's the movie about Ma Rainey. That was his last one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Delroy Lindo's performance in that was phenomenal too.
He's so good, man. He is, and this might sound racist, it might not. I don't know. But for white folk, Delroy Lindo is Black Paul Giamatti.
No, that's valid.
And
That's
I don't
valid.
mean that in any kind of disrespect, because I fucking love Paul Giamatti, but Paul Giamatti is the kind of guy that, like, you see him in fucking everything.
So you
But
don't really.
85% of the people of the world have no idea what his damn name is.
Yeah.
But every time they see him, they're
You
impressed by him.
know him when you see him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
yeah.
that dude from that movie that I love so much. What the hell is his name? And you sit there snapping and looking at your friends like, who the hell is this guy?
My favorite movie that he's in. Oh yeah, Cornbread was
Matt
good
got it.
too. Yeah,
100%.
my
We'll get to
favorite
Cornbread in a minute.
movie. I know my favorite movie that Delroy Lindo was in was The Core. He was in that movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, he was in that movie. But
Yep.
that's my favorite role that he played because he played it so well.
He's so good, and he started acting. I mean, holy shit! What was his first film? 1992? No, it was before
No.
that. That was when he was in Malcolm X.
Yep.
Hold on, I'm gonna scroll through. Keep talking. I'm gonna scroll through his entire filmography to figure out how stupid I am to not realize who the hell he is until 1998 or whatever it was.
No, he's played it. He's played in some movies, man. I know he was in Blade.
Yep.
The original Blade.
Yep.
Malcolm X. My daughter loves him in This Christmas because he plays the stepdad. Yep. That's a good role of his too. Crooklyn is another one of my favorite roles.
That's a great movie.
He was in that. Yeah.
He was in Broken Arrow.
Oh yeah, he was.
He was the Colonel in Broken Arrow. See, that's what I'm saying.
He was.
Like, he's got these.
Yeah, he was.
These parts, right? What?
But yeah, let's go to Cornbread. Cornbread.
I love Cornbread so much.
Cornbread was when he got turned, I think, because they showed the preview, because they did the preview of when he got turned.
Yep.
And that made me want to see the movie. Because I was like, what really struck me in the preview was like, they're really following the rules of Vampire.
100%.
They're really following the rules. Like when you turn, you have to be invited into someone's home. And like for Annie to pick up on, because she was thinking he was something else. For her to pick up
first.
Yes. For her to pick up on like something's off about this dude and why is he asking to be invited? You've been in and out
in here. Why are you asking again?
Yeah, you've been in and out of here all day. And he was like, because we just need to be kind to one another.
Dude, I laughed my ass off. He was so good. Like that every horror movie needs that character that brings a little levity to it. Yes. Otherwise, it's too dark.
Yes.
Omar Benson Miller was the best fucking choice for that with the rest of the cast that they had. He was so good. Cornbread is by far
he's like being the comedic relief without being the comedic relief.
Yes. He's the most enjoyable character in the movie. If that makes any sense at all.
Yes.
Right? He's not the best character in a movie, but he is by far the most enjoyable.
Yes.
Every time he's on scene, I was laughing.
Mac hit it on the head. Like when we get introduced to him, Stack was like, "Fuck your wife." And he was like, "Oh, I'm about to beat your ass."
Hold on.
Oh hell no, I'm about to beat your ass. Like, no, that's what you're gonna be doing. Oh, okay. You might.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, she might. What now? And then even the wife was like,
where?
Yeah.
The wife was like, how much money?
How much we talking? This got to be some serious money.
What do you mean I don't have to meet my quota tomorrow?
Yeah, and just the fact that he was as enjoyable as it was, even in a serious situation, is just like that was a great performance by him. And I think seeing that scene making me want to see that movie because I was like, dude, this scene is phenomenal. The way he's like just trying to let me in, like, come on, just let me in, guys. And they're like, dude, what? You've been in and out of here all day. Why we got to let you in? But even Mary doing that when she got turned and she was just like, you just gonna block the door? Let me in. And for him, it was just like, okay, you're right.
Come on,
right?
In.
Come on in. And she was like, gotcha. Ha, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but let's not. What's the Asian wife's name? Oh, I hated her in this movie.
Oh, she pissed me off so much. She was my fucking Star Lord.
Oh, yes.
To use Mac terms.
Yes.
Like that bitch. And the thing is, like, I say bitch, that's aggressive. Like, so I let me get the actress's name because she was outstanding. Everybody in the cast was great. But
But
What's
her,
his
I was just like, what are you doing? What the fuck? What are you doing? Shut
Lee
up.
Jun Lee Jun Lee as Grace
Yeah.
Chow. She like I get it though. And that was what pissed me off more than anything else. It was like I
She had
understand
a reason.
and Star-Lord's the same damn way, as much as Mac's gonna hate me for saying it. Like I understand why Star-Lord did what he did. I don't agree with it, right? It's like Chris Rock's OJ Simpson joke from back in the day. Like I ain't
Mhm.
saying I would have killed the bitch,
But I
but
mean,
I understand,
yeah, I understand.
right? Um, oh, she was
It's like this ain't
so
your establishment. Shut up. You know what I
and
mean? Like,
well, the whole thing with the daughter, like she was,
yeah,
what the hell
yeah.
was going to happen to her daughter? And can you imagine being in that situation, right? Um, where you know your husband's gone or your
Mhm.
wife's gone, right? Your daughter is the only thing you have left, and you're being told by someone that has a different culture, a different religious background, a different spiritual background, that you have to stay inside because of something that you don't fucking believe in.
Yeah,
You know how
yeah.
hard that would be? Like, I don't know.
Knowing, seeing the threat and knowing that your daughter is alone,
Yep.
it's easy to see why she made that decision.
Well,
Very easy to see why she made that
at
decision.
that point, I don't know that she had seen the threat yet
Well, that's true too.
because that was well, it was after the cornbread scene, but I don't think she was at the door. I think that's when she was making the Molotov.
You could be right about that.
She saw her husband through the window.
She knew that it wasn't him anymore, though.
No, she was at the door because that's when Remick talked to her in Cantonese.
In the tongues, yeah.
Yep.
He spoke different. That was another thing that keyed me into like, this motherfucker's the devil. He knows her language. He knows
Yep.
what she speaks and how to speak it. You know what I mean? But the fact that he was talking to her like that and she picked up on it, like it absolutely drove her off the edge.
Bingo, Mac.
Yep.
Mac hit it in the head. Having
Yep.
Remick speak her native language, saying
Knowing that danger, yeah. She was probably, and she did the only thing like she knew what to do. It was just like,
that was it. We
fuck
got to
it, let's
kill him.
go.
We got to kill him and go, or my baby's dead.
Yeah, fuck it, let's go. I'd rather fight y'all and die than y'all get to my baby.
Yep. All right, so let's rewind it a bit, right? I want to go back to the scene where, and if we start running long, you stop me because I mean I told you on Facebook I could go for 6 hours on this damn movie and not skip a beat, right? So I want to go back to the scene where we're introduced to Remick, right? So he falls out of the sky, he's burned, right? Because he's out in daylight, and he runs into this couple who you think at first is just this nice white couple living out in the middle of a farm. So you got this vampire outside asking to be let in. You've got this nice white lady standing inside the house talking to this guy who's obviously injured, and she doesn't know what to do. And then Coogler shifts the camera, and you see the Klan hood
on the bed. Yep.
Talk about questioning your audience's morality, or
what y'all
have
gonna
them.
Do?
Holy shit! Like who y'all rooting for now? Who are you rooting for now? You know this is a vampire movie. You know this guy's going to kill these people,
right?
But they're Klan members. Is the violence justified at this point? What do you think?
You know what else was? Look, Mac hit it. Mac hit what I was going.
Yep.
He hit what I was going. So the fact that the natives were chasing this dude, right?
Yep.
And when they get to him, it's like they knew what was up. It's like we know who you are, right? But you are hard. There's somebody around here who is not what they say they are. So the best advice we can give you is don't let this person in your house, right?
So the smartest part of that scene for me, if you watch his eyes, right, and follow it like the camera, over Remick's shoulder, he looks at that hood, and he stops, and then he starts going again, and still keeps trying to save him, which makes the audience feel more like shit. Because the whole time
It's like they knew what was up. It's
I
like,
was like, kill those motherfuckers. And even the Choctaw are like, we'll help you out. You should watch your ass.
yeah. It's like, hey, listen. Like, hey, listen. Before the sun goes down, if there's a person that's listen. You don't want them in your house, bro. Like, get him out of there. If you don't harbor people. And it was too late. By then, it was already too late because we know that Remick had already bit the other dude and he was in the room already dead. You know what I mean? Like, we knew it was too late. But the fact that the Choctaw chased this dude, was at a known clan member's house, they knew he was part of the clan, and was still like, bro, don't let this guy in the house. Whatever you do. All right, we out. Because the sun's going down.
And this is where the cultural thing comes in, right? When we talk about cultural levels to the film, this isn't just about colonialism and Christianity taking over Black culture. It shows the path that it took, right? Remick's culture was first. Because Remick in this film, based on the coins that he had, and this could be bullshit, it's all online, maybe I'm wrong, but fuck it, I'm going to go with it because it sounds right. Remick's about 1,400 years old. Because he remembers Britain invading Ireland and taking over their land.
Yep.
So it starts with him. And then the British and the Irish come to the U.S. And they take the land from the Choctaw and convert them to Christianity.
Yep.
Then they do it to Africans when they bring them over. It's this chain of events tied together by the characters in the film in the order that they're presented.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy.
Because the first people they talk about in the film are the Choctaw.
And because they introduced like the similarities in the piercing of the life and death stuff.
Yep.
They were totally involved in that. I have a crazy.
They tie that to the Choctaw at the very beginning of it.
Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah, it is. It's a wild movie, bro. Like this movie's wild. The fact that we're sitting here talking about all these layers on top of, oh yeah, by the way, it's a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
there's
yeah,
vampires
by the
in
way.
that shit.
Yeah.
People are getting
by the way. By the way. And it's like knowing how serious the stakes were without being introduced to it yet. You just knew the stakes were crazy high. And then you get introduced to it, and then there's all types of layers on top of that.
Well, so he did a great job of establishing a secondary threat that carried the tension for the first act of the movie before he introduced Remick.
Right.
You knew as soon as that guy jumped out of that car and said, "You boys twins."
Yeah,
as soon as the word "boys" came out of his mouth, I was like, "That's a shady motherfucker."
Yeah, you boys.
That's your secondary threat.
Yeah,
that's what carries the tension through. Because I kept expecting him to pop up when they were in town.
Mm-hmm.
I expected them to catch Stack when he was taking care of the.
Smoke.
Was it Smoke?
It was Smoke.
So Smoke went with Sammy into town, right? Or was that Stack?
No, that was Stack. All right.
So Smoke, when he was off by himself, I expected that dude to fucking show up.
Yeah.
The entire time.
And then to learn from Remick that they totally planned to fuck him up.
Yep.
They sold this to you knowing that tomorrow they're gonna come kill you.
Yep.
And then having Stack as the vampire confirm it. Yeah, he's not lying. I can see it.
Which was crazy to me.
Which is another layer. Yeah. Another layer in this, the fact that they knew each other's memories. And they could relay information that way.
It's because at that point, we're gonna go back to colonialism and shit, right? The Irish, the whole point behind this is that the Irish had been integrated or assimilated. We'll call it assimilated with the British for so long at this point that all of their memories were shared. It had been 1,400 years. Remick had no history of his own. Right. So vampirism as an analogy right, or an allegory for colonialism. They all shared those memories because they weren't individuals anymore. They were just part
Right.
of this fucking collective.
Right. Even now, because uh dumbass Conor McGregor, he went to the
Yeah.
White House. And
Yep.
he spoke in the sense of America is like Ireland's big sister. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
big brother. And
This is where
that's still how they see it today.
yeah. And as fucked up as it is, if you look at it from like a family tree standpoint, it makes sense.
It makes sense. Yeah.
Because the
It
vast
absolutely
majority of
makes
their
sense.
descendants ended up here. I
Yep.
mean, if you track the paternal side of my family, right? My dad's history back to like the 1400s. I'm the product of an Irish woman and a British man. I don't
Oh
know how
yeah.
the hell they got together, but
Even
my
me.
assumption,
My last name is of Irish descent. People don't know that, but yeah, it is.
you got your last name different though than I did.
Yeah, I did.
I'm
Totally.
assuming.
I totally
Right.
did.
Right. Like mine's genealogical, right? Yours is this is gonna sound really fucked up, but it's the reality of the situation.
Mhm.
Black people's last name is like a chain of custody,
No, that's absolutely true.
which is a fucking harsh way to say
Absolutely
it,
true.
but I don't know of any other better way to explain it, right? Your last name developed by who had you, who owned your family at the time, as fucked up
Yeah,
as it is.
it's
This
absolutely true.
the fact that we're talking about shit like this over a vampire movie is fucking astounding.
Absolutely true.
Holy shit. By the way, there's vampires in this movie. I don't know if you guys knew based on the conversation we had. But there are people getting bit within this 2 hour and 5 minute runtime. Holy hell, what a conversation to have on a Thursday.
But even so, with it being a horror movie, the biggest issue I had is that I wasn't afraid, right? That's a minuscule issue. Because there's no like, unless it's like really traumatizing, but like
Yeah.
the fact that it's a horror movie without being your traditional horror movie.
Well, so you got to keep in mind though, right? Like the two of us and like Amanda and Mac and Jen and EJ, like we have not lived common lives.
That is true.
So for us to,
that is true.
so for us to go in and see, a horror movie, like the scariest movie I've ever seen, and people laugh at me all day about this, but genuinely the scariest movie I've ever seen
Passion
was
of the Christ.
Brothers. No,
Oh,
it was a movie called Brothers that had Jake Gyllenhaal, Tobey Maguire, and Natalie Portman in it, where
How does
Tobey
that sound?
Maguire played an Air Force National Guard guy that got shipped to Afghanistan and got captured as a POW, while his brother and his wife, Jake Gyllenhaal and Natalie Portman, were back stateside, and he came back with PTSD.
Oh, I do remember that movie.
That movie
That movie
scared the shit out of me.
because it's so real.
I could relate to it, right? Like you throw vampires and werewolves at me, I'm like, all right. Like you might startle me,
right?
But you're not going to scare me. You got to show me some real shit for me to get scared nowadays.
I'm the same, yeah.
Which is kind of sad, but I mean, it is sad. Let's be honest, but it is what it is.
But
we are who we are at this point.
You led with what you led with.
We earned our scars.
Don't live normal lives. But in the sense of this movie, it's like, yeah, there are horror elements to it. Like, when you see Remick take off after Mary, I'm like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit, he could fly. Yep. Shit, oh shit. But when you see stuff like that, it's like, oh damn. Okay. But they go into it, but they don't bring you all the way there. And they do that a lot in this movie. It's like you know what happens because obviously she comes back and she's a vampire. But they don't have to show you the gory stuff to let you know what happened.
The rules are explained up front.
Right.
You saw him attack the guy in the house, the clan member.
Yep.
right? You saw that guy get up. Remick says he's all better now. After they had invited him in, your rules are
Yep.
established. You don't need to sit on them, right?
Right.
Coogler with this film did something that I think a lot of people, especially Disney and Marvel have a huge problem with this, where they treat every major plot point as this opportunity to explain to their audience what the hell is going on.
Right.
The only
Right.
movie that didn't do that was The Incredible Hulk, the one with Ed Norton,
Hmm.
because the origin story was all in montages, right?
Right.
Coogler went into this understanding that his audience wasn't stupid, or knowing that the people that the film was made for would get it,
They would get it. Yep.
and that they could explain it to everybody else. He
Yep.
didn't need to, and I massive respect for that.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about this mid-credit scene,
Okay.
because this was cool as shit to me, right? So you've got Buddy Guy sitting in the bar. He just got done playing a set, and Buddy Guy in the mid-credit scene is playing Preacher Boy. He's playing Sammy,
Yep.
and then you have Smoke and Mary walk in, and if you look at just the interaction between them is outstanding, because you've got Sammy, who stayed true to his roots,
Hmm.
grew up, lived a long, successful life, and is happy with it.
Yep.
And then you have Mary and Smoke walk in, who they're still alive, but there's something missing.
Right.
They're just not. They don't have the same
Fire.
spirit that they had, or fire
Right.
that they had, right?
Right.
What I found interesting is that when you look at what they're wearing, you show Buddy Guy, who is still dressed as in the fashion that a lot of older black gentlemen still dress.
Hmm.
They get up in the morning, they make sure their shit's straight, they put on a coat,
Sharp.
and they're looking good, and they're going out, right? When you look at the way Smoke and Mary are dressed, they're dressed like pop stars.
Right.
Smoke looks like Play
From Kid and Play. Yep.
from Kid and Play,
Yep.
but with a damn 4-knuckle ring,
Yep.
right? And Mac nailed it. Haley looked like Mary J. Blige. Right? As much as I love Mary J. Blige, and I always have, there is an obvious disconnect between Mary J. Blige and Etta James and Ella Fitzgerald.
Got the soul, but not the look.
Well, no, got the look, but not the soul.
Okay, I'll go with that.
And I think, it comes down to that dilution of culture through assimilation, right? Like
It's the effect over time.
bingo. Like
Yeah.
with Sammy, he lived his life in a white world, but held on to his black culture. So he was still happy. He was
Mhm.
still successful. He had still lived the life that he wanted to. But he was able to remain true to him the entire time.
Right.
When you look
For-
at Smoke and Mary, they're a diluted version of that now has market input and culture input
Right. Right.
outside of their own. And it's just, I don't know how accurate that is or how true that could be, but that's what I took out of it. As soon as they walked through the door, I was like, holy shit, they look like an early 90s rap star.
Yeah, they do.
And a mid to late 90s R&B singer.
Yep, they do. They really did. But that's so speaking of the effect of over time, it also speaks to their bondage, right? Because you did see that they blend in, but they have to.
Yep.
Because they don't age.
Yep.
Even though they're that old, they don't age. So it's very different from Remick in that time, in their time, when they were human. Like, he blended in perfectly.
Well, he's a white dude. in the
But
South.
he could have passed for that, right?
Yep.
But as the times changed, they had to change.
Yes.
You couldn't dress like you were in the 30s, right?
Would have called it
So-
out immediately.
Yep, they would have called you out immediately. Like, what are
Yep.
you doing? So that's not fresh. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be that way. But being that way is the only way that they could survive without being outed. You know what I mean? Like, we've seen you 20 years ago. You look exactly the same. Like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. When you get the chance, I want to know your thoughts on why the vampire semi-retreated when Smoke killed Anne.
So,
I
think it's twofold. So just for folks that aren't watching the stream and are listening to this after the fact, Mac asked, when you two get a chance, I want to know your thoughts on why the vampires semi-retreated when Smoke killed Anne before she turned. And I think it's twofold, right? So Smoke and Stack had obviously been trench soldiers in World War I together, right? So any memories of combat that Stack had, Smoke had.
Yep.
So I think when he was turned, they realized just how fucking dangerous he could be if he lost everything. And when Anne told him to kill her,
he didn't want to do it.
He didn't, but he did.
But he did it.
And he still had that mojo bag.
Yep.
So not only does he now have the mojo bag, but he also has Anne's protection from the other side.
Yep.
And I think
which makes him equally dangerous. Yeah.
And I think that scared the shit out of him.
And that speaks to the wrath, because they know his wrath.
Yep. And I wouldn't want to feel that shit.
Hell no.
God no.
You seen what he did with the KKK?
Well, so before that, right? And this is something that I brought up when I did that lecture on Tuesday night, I think it was, with Tananarive Dew and her husband Stephen Barnes. They were talking about the movie, and I sat in on that. One of the points that I brought up there is if you watch Smoke's hands.
Oh, yes.
Right? Throughout the film, but especially in the first shot of the last scene where he's sitting on that. No, so I don't think so, because they were never. So again, for folks that are just listening, Max said he thought it was more of they knew they missed out on getting her knowledge and memories. I don't think they were ever after her memories or her knowledge. They were after Sammy, because Remick wanted.
Just wanted Sammy.
Yes, Remick and the clan, right, the vampire group, wanted Sammy because with Sammy's musical abilities, they could reconnect Remick to his Irish past.
Right.
That's why that
was the whole point of them going there.
That's why every song that he sings and every song that everybody that he turns sing, including Cornbread and Stack, I'm gonna keep getting them confused. Smoke.
Smoke and Stack, yeah.
They all sing Irish music because that's all he knows. That's all he knows.
Right.
So he wants to use Sammy to get a deeper connection to where he came from. And Annie wouldn't have given him that. That's my interpretation. I mean, what are your thoughts?
No, I feel the same. Plus, I think Sammy kind of retreated at that point too.
He did. Yeah,
I think they were.
No, he wasn't in there with Pearline anymore.
No, because Pearlina died, or she got bit.
Yep.
So he went out, and I think they went after him.
Yes. Does that make sense, Mac? Does it line up with what you were thinking at all? Let me know. But yeah. So the scene with him sitting on top of the Foot Locker at the end of that movie, where his hands are shaking so bad, I saw a lot of comments saying, "Oh, well, that's just because he went through a traumatic experience that night." And I had to tell him, like, if you go back and watch that movie again, He never rolls his own cigarettes.
Stack always rolled it.
He never lights his own cigarettes.
Yep.
He'll have the cigarette in his mouth. Smoke's got the lighter. Every time. And
Yep.
that's because of what he went through in World War One.
Yep. The trauma.
But whenever he had heat in his hand, that son of a bitch
Calm
was
and
dead
steady.
steady.
Calm and steady.
When he was focused on violence, he was 100% keyed in.
Yep.
That's why those vampires ran.
Yep. Yep.
I would have too.
I noticed that too, and that was another powerful scene for me. It's like knowing Stack was gone, and Stack was always the one to roll the cigarette and light it for him.
Yep.
And he couldn't do that in that moment. And it triggered. It was a trigger.
Yep.
It's like my brother used to do this for me. I'm about to kill everybody.
Every bit of normalcy that he had was gone.
Yeah, it was gone.
Even the smallest thing is a cigarette. He had to ask the Klan.
Yep.
To feel normal.
Yep.
By getting a cigarette from that dude. And he shot him to get that.
He did. He did.
That was an angry son of a bitch. He was mad. For good reason.
Yep, totally did. So
so good, man.
Great fucking movie, bro.
Oh, yeah. So it is for anybody wondering, anybody that may have missed watching this in theaters the first run. Warner Brothers has announced that this movie is going to come back to 70 millimeter IMAX from the 15th to the 21st of May of 25. And it's not often that I will tell you to go out and spend money, especially knowing the way the economy is right now. But if you have the opportunity to go see this movie in a theater with an audience, go do it. I know in New York City today, the 11 a.m. showings at 85% of the theaters in the city were completely sold out.
Damn.
Because as of 6 p.m. tonight, Thunderbolts was taking over the IMAX screens.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And Coogler gets first dollar profits on this.
Yeah, he does.
Before the studio even sees it, he gets $1 of every ticket sold, which is huge. I'm interested to see how the media keeps spinning that one.
The fact that it's still doing well is huge. It's huge.
It dropped 6% week to week. I think they're clocking it now to bring in over $200 million on a $90 million budget.
Wow.
And it's just, and that's never, to my knowledge, that has never been done by a black director before.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't.
This deal that Coogler worked out with Warner Brothers has never been done before.
They struck gold, though. They absolutely struck gold.
They were very, very smart to let Coogler just do
your thing. Yep.
He directed it. He wrote it. He produced it. Co-produced it with his wife, from what I understand. And just killed it. And Mag here saying you got to see it in IMAX. 100%.
100%.
100%. Because when shit gets supernatural, the aspect ratio changes. Did you notice that?
Yes.
It changes everything, right? So the movie, for 80% of its runtime, is letterbox.
Yep.
But as soon as the music hits, it goes full IMAX. And it's you don't even realize it watching it, but you feel it.
Yep, it's beautiful.
It changes the feel of the film, and I've never seen anything like it. Never
Me
seen
neither.
anything like it.
Me neither. Masterful, bro. It's I can't say enough good things about this movie.
No, that's what I was
masterful.
So we were talking in a Facebook Messenger in a group chat about this over the last few days. I think it was, when did you go see it the first time?
I went and saw it last Thursday. Tuesday, Tuesday. Because
we were talking about
that was my Yeah, that was my post WrestleMania date. I had to take my wife
Gotcha.
out on a date.
Gotcha. So we were talking about it later that week, and basically I've been wanting to talk about this damn thing since I saw it, which was on the night it released. And I told everybody in our group chat, like, I refuse to do a podcast on this movie or a live stream about this movie until everybody that wants to see it has seen it.
Yep. I felt the same way.
Because it deserves to not be spoiled.
Yep.
As much as we're
felt the
spoiling it
same
right now, but screw it. It's a review of Sinners. If you didn't come in here expecting spoilers,
The
sorry.
crew saw it. That's all I'm worried about.
That's it.
That's all I'm worried about.
The last people in the crew were able to see it yesterday.
Yeah.
And as soon as they got done seeing it, Blak and I got on Messenger.
You want to talk about it?
Could not wait. And I'll be honest with you, we've been talking about this for an hour and a half ish.
Yep.
And as much as a discussion as we've had, we've really just barely scraped the surface.
Right.
As far as what can be interpreted out of this movie and what can be said about the technical aspect. Because I'm a fan. I'm not a film scholar, right? I don't know what this lens from that or lighting and all that shit. I watch a movie and I enjoy it.
Right.
We could talk for another 2-3 hours about this damn thing.
Hell yeah.
And still not touch on everything.
Still not touch everything.
It's an insane movie. So go see it if you get a chance. It's available for pre-order already. And I'm taking a tangent a little bit right now just to collect my thoughts about all the shit we already talked about and see if it brings up anything new, stuff that I didn't think about. But yeah, go see this movie if you get a chance.
Please.
Take your wife, take a partner.
I took my wife, and she's really not a horror fan, but she loved this movie.
Yeah.
So,
and I've
that'll
heard
tell you everything you need to know.
I've spent a lot of time over the last few days on Blue Sky with people going, listen, I keep hearing all this good stuff about Sinners. I'm not into horror. Can you handle it? Or can I handle it? And I keep telling them, like, can you watch Supernatural? If the answer is yes, then you can handle this movie
for you. Yeah.
This is a slightly bloodier version of Supernatural.
Yep.
In my opinion, I didn't think it was any scarier than the Lucifer episode of Supernatural.
Yeah, no. Very much so.
But the message it brings is insane and deserves to be seen by everybody. And Coogler deserves $1 out of every ticket. So go see this damn movie.
Please.
It's so good. All right.
Do yourself the favor. Go watch it.
Oh, it's so good. And recommend it to people. Word of mouth has been huge for this thing because the marketing was not spectacular.
I think this might be my first 5 Puff movie. I'm going to give this one 5. Yeah, I think so.
All right. It was 5 for me too. This is a different level of 5 though. This is like,
yeah. If I can go higher, I would.
Yeah,
it's
I rated
definitely a 5.
Did you see Cuckoo last year?
I did not. It's on my list to watch.
That's a weird ass movie. So I rated that one 5.
Ooh, okay.
Because it was batshit crazy.
Okay.
Just insanely, like, I don't know where they came up with this idea, but they did it well. And 2024 was Dan Stevens' year anyway.
Yeah.
That dude was everywhere and killing it in every movie he was in.
My daughter watched that movie. She did tell me about that movie. I'm gonna need to watch it.
So weird, man. You don't know where it's going until it goes there, and then you're like, yeah, this is a different level.
Yeah,
a lot of people are calling this a masterpiece, and I think they are 100% accurate.
Dead on. And if you just get one layer of the movie, it's a masterpiece.
If you go in, like I've been seeing the whole white versus black shit going on in Blue Sky, right? Man, it was so good seeing the black guy kill all the KKK members at the end of the movie, and that was good.
It's so much deeper than that.
If that's all you get out of this movie,
yeah, it's so much deeper than that.
You really need to take a step back and look at your thoughts on things. Because there's just, I mean, holy shit. So the vampires alone, let's start with them. The vampires, right? So you already said that Remick could be the devil, which is a completely valid interpretation. I see it, right? I said in a group chat earlier that I didn't see Remick as a villain in some ways. I saw him as an antagonist, but
Definitely an antagonist.
But the vampirism itself was the villain. There's been people out there saying that the vampires were the clan, which is also kind of understandable. I mean, Remick speaks against it pretty blatantly when he says, "No, we deal in fellowship." But from a surface level, I could see it. You got a mostly white group coming in to burn a black juke joint. It makes sense.
So for me, it was less they were a clan and more they wanted freedom too, but they wanted it on their terms.
But from who? That would be my question to that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that's what he was offering. He's like, I want you to be free.
Yeah.
But it also spoke to, like, we're in the same boat. Like we can all be free and we can all be fellowship, right? But it's gonna be on my terms. You gotta be one of us.
That's it.
Like you gotta join my group.
Yep. So let me ask you this. What did you think about Haley Steinfeld
in the movie?
So as a character, right?
Okay.
So Mary, right? As the only woman to quote unquote survive.
That's interesting you say that, because I never really thought about that.
So I've heard a lot of people. Well, I haven't heard. It's all blue sky, so I've been reading it. No shit, man.
I saw that.
The fact that the vampires had a better grasp of DEI than us in present time is crazy, which is 100% accurate. So I've I've seen a lot of people talking about the fact that they were upset that while the Chinese lady and the black lady died, the mulatto lady survived and became kind of a tragic hero. Did you see it that way?
No, because she really didn't survive.
Thank you. That was my point. That's been my point the entire time.
She really didn't survive.
Yeah.
She almost had a worse fate than everybody else.
Yeah.
Because which speaks to the mulatto, right? Because on one part, like, most people can see her as black or white, depending, but she passes for white, right?
Yep.
She looks alive, but she's totally dead.
Yeah. So she turned her back on a part of her culture.
Yep.
But so at what point do you think that happens, right? Because she didn't intentionally invite the vampirism, right? She didn't invite them in. So what was her fault as a character? From an allegory standpoint, right? We can all point to a specific incident that led to their turning.
Yep.
Right? Cornbread was lazy. Right? He slacked off on his duties and went off on his own. That's how his ass got bit.
Right.
Right. What did she do wrong that the colonialism, Christianity, whatever the allegory for the vampirism is, got her? Was it accepting the coins? Was it walking out there to engage with them at all?
No, it was doing what Stack wanted her to do.
So you think it was Stack's fault?
It was totally Stack's fault.
Wasn't it her idea to go out there and talk to him, though?
Yeah, but she was doing that because, remember, Stack didn't want shit to do with her. But the prospect of, you can actually help me out, to her was an invitation because she wanted him.
Okay.
So if I do this, I'm in your good graces.
I got you.
And that's the clash right there. The dick did it to her.
Mac, I agree. Anne was the only person in that movie. Anne and Sammy were the only people in that movie to have a happy ending.
Yep. Yeah, see? Max said the same thing.
100%. 100%. And I think when we're looking at Seven Sins, she was adultery.
Lust.
No, she was divorced. Perline would have been adultery.
Pearline was adultery.
Yep, because she was married. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
See,
Stack didn't want her to go. She did that because Smoke wanted coin and they had coin. You're right. Because
Yep.
that was right after the conversation where they were talking about the plantation money.
Yep.
That makes sense.
He's like, we need real money.
Yep, 100% makes sense. All right. So what else you got, man? What else you want to talk about?
What else? There's a lot. There is a lot. Let's talk about this is a funny one. Like when Sammy was like, I just want to taste it. Look, like, bro, it is.
Don't do that. I'm all sweaty.
I just want to get it. I just want.
You're so beautiful.
That thing marinated. It's 7 p.m. Friday. It's 95 degrees. And bro, what are you doing?
Talking about sweating till y'all stank. Oh man, it was his first time.
What are you doing?
He found out that it's got a little kick that nobody warned him about.
Oh yeah, that twang.
We're not getting monetized. It's cool.
Like, bro, humidity is crazy out there right now, bro.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Summer?
That's how he was able to pierce that veil.
Man, you do that shit in the shower.
Fine tuning.
In.
Like, she's like, I just walked to get here. It don't matter.
That poor boy. Like looking a 9-volt. Just,
that right there is its own sin. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, my wife's gonna tell me she listens to this.
Like,
no shit. So that's what was so cool to me is
literally
the entire non-white side of the town came together to make it happen.
But that's what the juke joint represented.
Yes.
Because, and I love that they did that too, because when in those days when you had a juke joint, that's where the black people went to like get the ills of the that's where they went to get the ills of the day. They've been working in the field. Yep. They just needed to blow off a little bit of steam. And that was there for them. I love that they put that layer in there too.
You ain't never heard that before, Mac? Looking at 9-volt. Got a little kick to it, buddy.
Hell yeah, buddy.
You ever felt a breast and it's like a bag of sand?
I love that reference.
Completely different movie. Not nearly as deep. Oh.
But yeah, man, I love that they put that in there. But there was a lot of this movie, like growing up in the South, I related to. And it was really cool it reminded me a lot of home.
See, that's what I got out of it.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of home.
Yep.
Just like even the church. Like them going into church and the songs they sing. I can go home right now and they're singing the same songs.
Yep.
It's wild.
Yep. Little white church with double doors, man.
Yep.
All over the place in the South.
Yep.
Either Baptist or Methodist, pick one.
Yep. And Mac hit this one too. During the music scene, they incorporated all of the cultures that were in the building. Yep.
They did. All but one.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And that was the one outside because they were singing their own shit.
Yep. They were on their own time.
And this is why I say that vampirism was Christianity, right? And colonialism. Because Remick had been a vampire for as long as he had, 1,400 years, he had no past anymore. It wasn't his. So it wasn't going to show him anything. But he was able to see everybody else's. And that's what made him lust after Sammy. Oh,
that's a good point.
Because all they had were some fucking Irish jigs, right? Picked a Robin clean.
Yeah.
And Rocky Road to Dublin. That's all he had.
That is a very good point. I didn't even think of that. And he's
That
just
was the whole
trying to
point.
find root himself.
That's it. He was trying to find himself. He was trying to find a connection to home. And because they had assimilated, it was gone. It had been diluted
Yeah,
too long by
yeah.
that point.
It's a
But through
very good
Sammy.
point.
Now, so let me ask you this question, right? So I think Ryan Coogler made a very specific decision
Mm-hmm.
to not set this during slave times or post civil rights movement,
Right.
but to set it specifically during the Jim Crow South when black folks were workers that were paid wages
Right.
for the same shit they did when they were slaves. Why do you think that he chose that time frame as
Because
opposed to anything else?
you can feel it in the movie too. That tension was still there, right? So you had a sense of black independence,
Mhm.
but at the same time, the tension of slavery was still there. Also,
Gotcha.
you had the prohibition era,
Yep.
and you had black folks that could take advantage of that, as you
Mhm.
seen with Smoke and Stack. They totally took the prohibition era. They took advantage of that. They were able to bring that home and become kind of entrepreneurial in their own right,
Mhm.
and then that setting off people around them too. So it created a perfect storm. So that situation, and Mac hit it too, it's a false sense of
Yep.
freedom, right? So that situation, knowing that they were pissing off the Klan, added that tension in there because for the majority of the movie, you were expecting a big clash with the Klan.
Oh God,
Like
yeah.
no matter where they went, it's like these uppity Negroes out here, trying to create a club and trying to get money for their community. We can't allow
Mhm.
that to happen, right? And that followed them until the end of the movie. That
Right.
sense was still there. So I think that time period, especially if you look at the time period of like the 20s, 30s, you have Black Wall Street, and then that
Oh, God.
crashes, right? So that story fitting around that time period, it it was valid. I like that choice. I do think it was deliberate because you can't create that during the civil rights movement,
Right.
and you can't create that during the 1800s because
Could could you not though during the civil rights
you
movement?
could you
I
could
mean,
but
Martin
then
Luther King Jr. was still assassinated, right? The,
right,
the tensions were still there.
you could, but then you have all these other outside factories, right? You can't, like in the South, particularly
Yeah.
during this time, right? That tension was still there because they were just coming off. A lot of the people in the South didn't realize they were free
Oh
until
yeah.
after like the Juneteenth stuff happened, right?
Yep.
So you still had, that's why you see them working in the fields, because they're still in that mindset. They don't have to do that. They could totally go off and build their own shit,
Mhm.
right? But that mentality, they're still institutionalized to the slavery foundation. So that's all they know to get money. And that's all they know. So, and that's even that represents itself when they go to the juke joint and Smoke is like, I want real money. I don't want this bullshit.
Yeah.
But that's all they got because that's what
Yeah.
they work for.
Yep. That's
So
what they were getting paid in. And
right.
they were still
So
meeting the same fucking quotas, working for the same fucking
yep,
people.
same people.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
So that in itself is
Ooh,
like
that's spicy.
it's a deep layer, you know? So
Yep.
that the time period was absolutely a great choice
So
for me.
do you think that the message in the movie is as relevant to the time period that it's set as it is to today's America?
Yes.
What about 10 months ago?
It's still, and I'm gonna speak for the black experience, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
It still hits, right? Because that
So
false
so
sense of freedom, that false sense of freedom is
Mhm.
still prevalent in the Black community, right? We're
Is it
still institutionalized to a point.
so? I guess the question is then: do you think the fact that a lot of Black folks feel institutionalized still, do you think that is a symptom of the system, or do you think that's a symptom of, I'm going to use the word prejudice, but I don't know that it's accurate. You understand what I'm saying though?
I
Like
get what you're saying.
because like I want to
So
say my mind goes to Stockholm syndrome, which is a vastly different thing,
valid,
right?
very
Like
valid,
that's where my head goes, right?
very valid. Yes.
So do you think that with this film, we're getting deep, y'all? Um, do you think that this film pushes that narrative,
It yes, it does.
but does it provide hope?
It it
Because I'll tell you,
does.
so from a Southern white boy perspective, looking at it, right, seeing that Annie got what she wanted by standing on her own 2 feet,
Mm-hmm.
right, and being close with Stack,
Mm-hmm.
seeing that Sammy got what he wanted by standing on his own 2 feet and turning his back on the system, realistically,
Mm-hmm.
because the system at that time
Right.
was the church.
Yep.
Um, it gave me hope for the Black community because I see through social media and through the far too much fucking information that we're bombarded with every day as I sit here podcasting on YouTube. Hypocrite. Um, it gave me hope that maybe if people can see that side of it, that they will stand up a little bit more and buck trends and stand on their
Right.
feet and say, no, fuck you, this is who I am.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and I'm gonna tie this into the movie. So
Okay.
on the one hand, they
Like we're
did
getting
get
too
what they
far off
want.
track here.
No, no, no. They on one hand they do get what they want, right? There
Mhm.
is a happy ending in a
Right.
sense for them, right? They stand for what they believe in. One makes it all the way out, and you see the result of his life past that, right?
Yeah.
Annie kind of goes out on her shield as
Mhm.
she wanted to, right? But often, and this is really prevalent in the Black community too, right? When you often have groups of these types of people that are standing on their own and following their own agenda and
Mhm.
building things for themselves, just like Remick was able to convert Stack, you
Yep.
have people in that community that follow that agenda, and they
Gotcha.
may not be for you, and they may be trying to bring you into that community because they're like,
Gotcha.
it's safe over here, we're good over here, leave this life alone. When everybody as one was moving on one accord, and it's once you separated them and divided them that
Mhm.
the styles started clashing, right?
Gotcha.
And that is very prevalent in the Black community. That narrative is alive and kicking because you do have people with ideas, people with a sense of how they want to advance the culture, and then you
Mhm.
also have people that are a part of the establishment as well, and they don't want to be a part of the culture. So
Gotcha.
those two styles do clash today, and that is actually represented in the movie.
And that's what I was about to say. Like it I was kind of headed down that road, right? Like when we talk about this conversation in particular,
Mhm.
this for me is the heart of Sinners.
Oh yeah, most
Like
definitely.
at the very core of what this movie means, it's about being able to stand up and say, no, fuck you, this is me. And this is how
Right.
I'm fucking live or die. This is how I'm gonna roll. And you can take
Yep.
it or you can leave it.
Yep.
And I love that about it. What a ballsy fucking move.
It's very ballsy,
What a
and to
ballsy
tell it the
move.
way he told it was
So, random question,
Epcot.
but still focused on the racial aspect of it. And if I make you uncomfortable, by all means, let me know.
Nah, man.
I'll dig into some awkward shit. Do you think that had Remick not been able to turn cornbread and smoke, that the message of the
Stack.
movie would have been complete? Was it stacked? It was stacked.
It was stacked.
Yep. How much would that have shifted the message of the movie?
Cornbread.
And would it have been better or worse from a messaging standpoint, more positive or negative?
Cornbread, I don't think it would have impacted it that much.
Really?
No. Because you still, so without changing cornbread, you still had Mary. Because Mary had already been turned. And Mary was, regardless, Stack was going to be turned because Mary had got turned. Now, I think if you don't turn her, if you send her out there, the cause of this movie flips dramatically. The plot of this movie flips dramatically. Because you have, and this is the interracial aspect of it, you have the love that they have for each other was on full display. So so if they stick together and she doesn't turn, the plot flips dramatically.
Gotcha. Yep, that makes sense. Makes sense. Fuck, man.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. This has the potential. If people keep going to see it, this has the potential to be our generation's Roots.
No, most definitely.
As cliched as it sounds, and as stupid as it sounds for me to say it, this is potentially the most important piece of Black cinema that I think I've ever seen.
Oh, for me, it is. It definitely is. For me.
Which is strong because Coogler's got some good shit in his back. I mean,
he's got some good shit.
Station is great.
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit, the reaction to Black Panther was Jesus, but it was fantastical, right? It had
Black Panther 2, bro. Like, I was in tears for that movie.
Oh, so here's
tears.
So Black Panther 2 was a great memorial to Chadwick Boseman. I think as a movie, it suffered because it had to be a strong memorial to Chadwick.
There was still, he put messages in that one too, though. That was still crazy.
I'm telling you, man, Coogler he's a director to fucking keep an eye on.
Oh, that when he is shown, once he is allowed to get in his bag, that bag is limitless. Let him get in his bag and let him cook, because
man's brilliant.
It's gonna be good.
30,
I think it's like 36
or 37. Hold on.
I thought he was like 30.
He's in his.
He's young.
Oh, he's got a lot of tread left on the tires.
Oh, hell yeah, he does.
Born in 86, so he is 37 right now. Almost 38. He shares a birthday with my mom.
Wow.
God, so good, man. Tell you, you put him on directing a movie, and you put Michael B. Jordan starring in it, and my ass will be first in line. And up until this movie, I was not a fan of Michael B. Jordan.
I'm still not a fan of Michael B. Jordan, but this movie, hell no. This movie is awesome, though.
You didn't like him as Adonis?
No, hell no. I hated him as Adonis.
Why?
Because he was
What?
No.
We going to have to do another episode on the damn Rocky.
That's a whole nother episode, bro.
The Rocky franchise, how they snatched it out from underneath Sly and told him to fuck off. You mess with Stallone, man.
Best part of that is he actually got knocked out.
He did. That boy knocked the shit out of him. Oh my God. So yeah, I didn't think looking at Michael B. Jordan, I was like, yeah, he's a good actor, but I never thought of him as a star until this one.
No, yeah, I do think with this movie, his
This
stardom
movie
hit
put him
is
on the
hitting
map.
peak.
What we
Yeah.
need to do is we need to get Anthony Mackie working with Ryan Coogler.
I don't think Ryan Coogler can save Mackie, bro. I'm gonna just be
I don't
honest.
think Mackie would be cast in any Ryan Coogler movie.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it would happen. So, all right. So getting off of Sinners for a little bit. Do you know what
Huh?
Coogler's first what his next project is?
No, what is it?
He's rebooting the X-Files.
No shit.
Yeah.
I'm there for that.
Yep. He's had phone conversations with Gillian Anderson. She told him, whenever you're ready, call me. She'll be there.
Wow.
Which I think is awesome. We could get Scully back.
Yep.
So I think, I mean, if we look at what Coogler has been able to do with his movies, moving into the X-Files, and then we look at what Jordan Peele has done with his films, and then moving into the Twilight Zone, and
yeah, we're gonna get some good shit.
Unsolved Mysteries, and all the other stuff that they've done. Like, these guys are running the fucking... I can't think of any other directors that even stand up to them.
No, dude, they're in
Not
the class of their own right now.
Yeah, not in their age bracket by any stretch. I mean,
No,
you've still got
hell no.
you've still got some of the auteur directors out there. Tarantino, anytime he puts something out, it's going to hit.
Yeah.
Um,
But look at the budget he had for this movie, and look what he did with that budget.
It's fucking insane. It's insane. I think this is the highest grossing studio horror film in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, the only one that I think, and I don't even know that it beat it, was Terrifier 3. And that's not even counted in the same class because it's an indie film.
Yeah.
But Jesus.
I think by the end of this, we're gonna be talking about where this movie ranks monetarily all time.
Oh, it's gonna be huge, especially within the horror community.
Yeah.
Because horror really doesn't do very well. And I don't understand why. Obviously, I'm a horror fan, hence the Facebook page. But
the horror fan is not as prevalent as they used to be.
Which doesn't make sense to me, right? Like, you can tell stories with the horror genre that you can't touch on anything else.
Right.
Like, how do you make this movie and have it have the same impact without using vampirism as the mechanism? Can you do it?
You can't do that. You can't. This movie ain't the same if it doesn't have vampires in it.
And that's what I was trying to, like, it just doesn't. There's certain movies that just don't work. The Woman in the Yard. Did you see that one? I know Max saw it. He didn't.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I heard it's a phenomenal movie.
Be careful with it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So The Woman in the Yard, if you've ever had any kind of self-harm thoughts, The Woman in the Yard can be dangerous.
Oh, wow.
I think that was rated inappropriate. It's rated PG-13. There's not a lot of gore. Potentially none. It's spooky more than it is scary, but the subject matter's it's intense.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it's a good one. For anybody out there that wants to know my thoughts on that, there's a review on the channel, so go check it out. Do the cliched YouTube shit. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. All right, man. We've been at it for about 2 hours. I know we've barely scratched the surface on Sinners, and there's probably a hell of a lot more conversation we could have.
Hell yeah.
And I'm sure we will in the future. But I have absolutely enjoyed having you on, man. I'm glad you.
This is a great talk, man.
Dude,
I'm glad I got to talk about it because it is a movie. Like, it really gripped me. Like, it really did. So.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. I mean, I know I said during my review, but I'll say it again. Like, if you look at this and you look at the cast and you're one of those people that's sitting back there going, well, this looks like a culture movie, or this looks like a black movie, and I'm not going to get it. Take your ass to the damn theater.
Go watch the movie.
Go sit down and watch it.
Go watch it.
Even if you
Even
don't
if you're not into that, the movie is still good.
Yep.
It's
Is an
still
outstanding.
good.
It is well worth what is an IMAX ticket now? $20?
Yep.
Just go see it. Go see it.
Please.
If you don't want to spend $20, wait for it to come out on streaming and rent it digitally. But put money into it because Coogler earned the shit and he negotiated his ass off for it.
Yes. Support the
But
homie.
Blak, definitely appreciate you having coming on with me.
Yes, sir.
Awesome conversation. You want to tell the folks what you got going on? Little shameless plug.
We just dropped the Smokepit episode. Shout out to my partner in crime, Mac, aka your boy. Smokepit. We're live on Fridays. Follow us over on the Patreon, patreon.com/thatfilmpodcast. We do all of our live shows on there. So there's no gimmicks. The podcast, which I just did before this show. So yeah, man, come support us. Shout out to the whole team: Smokepit, No Gimmicks, Queens of Nerdum, Awesome Zone, Eat the Cake. Shout out to this show because this is one of my favorites right now, man. I love what you're doing with the horror. It gets me into that. Between this one and Eat the Cake, I'm just finding new shit. So I definitely appreciative.
That's the whole. I appreciate it, man. That's the whole point. Again, not a film scholar. I just tell you what I like and what I don't like. You can take it. And
it's awesome, bro. So I definitely appreciated being on here. Thanks for letting me nerd out on this movie.
Hell yeah, man. Anytime you want to jump on, you are more than welcome to.
Absolutely, bro. And you're more than welcome to come over to our shows too, man. So
awesome. I appreciate that. But y'all out there listening, thanks for joining in tonight. And again, if you get a chance, go see a movie. Grab a friend, grab your spouse, grab a partner, get the hell out of the real world, go sit in a dark room with a bunch of strangers, and just enjoy some shit in a crowd. Get away from your damn computers. Even though I want you watching my videos, don't do it all the damn time. It's only 2 a week. All right. But yeah, thanks everybody for watching and listening. I am CJ.
I am Blak.
And we will catch you next time. Y'all take care. Cheers.
Peace.